I've seen a flying saucer.
You've seen one?
Yes, definitely.
Unidentified aerial phenomena.
To cover up our mistakes.
I've met people who swear they've seen Bigfoot.
Join us for a journey into the obscure.
You are now listening to The Wow Pod.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
All right, so tonight we have some fun news, and
we do have some fun news, in spite of everything that's going on.
There's not a lot of good people doing crazy stuff news lately. I think because everyone's in their home,
They're not out being crazy.
Yeah, I may have to go out and do something crazy.
To give us some news.
Yep. All right,
All right, so you want me to lead off with mine?
Yeah, let's have you cut right into it.
Okay, so first I'm going to talk about the Easter fiasco.
The Easter fiasco. Okay.
Yeah, because, we're all on quarantine. They've asked us not to gather.
Yes.
But
how are they going to do? Because I know my son's grandmother still wants to do an Easter egg hunt for all the little kids. How are people planning to do that? What innovative ideas do people have? Let's throw some.
So I'll tell you what I'm doing.
Okay.
I don't know if it's innovative, but instead of us all getting together, I am filling Easter eggs and taking them, and tomorrow night I'm going to put them around at my grandkids' houses.
So you're gonna go hide on location. All right, good.
Yes. So then we're not all getting together, but they'll have a little basket and Easter eggs from Grandma and Grandpa at their house this year instead of coming to mine.
Good idea. I like it.
So we're going to make a trip into our grandkids that live in the city, and we're going to make a trip into Tooele and do theirs, and then the one that lives here. So
okay.
That way they at least know we're thinking about them. There's ways that you can get together, by using technology. But this guy in Florida, he's truly taken it to a new level.
Yeah, I see.
So
breaking.
They're calling him the Dirty Easter Bunny.
All right, I'm gonna throw it.
And what he's done is he's secretly placing into lots of mailboxes throughout Flagler County, Florida, these Easter eggs. These people are opening them, seeing eggs as they look inside their mailboxes.
Uh-huh.
And then they're finding dirty pictures, pornographic images are inside the eggs.
Like stuff that he cuts out of magazines.
I don't know.
Some of himself,
They're finding something really strange. It's like a fish-shaped cracker, like those, I guess, those, what are those called?
Fish?
The cheese, goldfish cheese crackers on a sheet of toilet paper.
Uh-huh.
And some of the eggs have like a powdered drink mix in it. Or if you're one of the lucky or unlucky ones, you get a pornographic image inside the egg.
Have they verified it's powdered drink mix? Have they tested it, or is it? I
believe they have tested it. They haven't. There's not been any release that it's.
Who was the guy who to test that stuff? Like they picked it in, stir it in. They're like, "All right, try it out."
Come here, rookie. Lowest on the totem pole. I don't know, but this guy is.
Well,
this guy is going around and leaving these things inside people's mailboxes, and they're working diligently to identify him.
Yeah, they said if you have any surveillance, call 386-313-491. that phone number does not compute, flaglersheriff.com. But you can go to tips@flaglersheriff.com if you have any surveillance. But it could be multiple people. Let's say the first guy delivers the dirty picture, and the innocent aunt pulls it out, and she's shocked and dismayed. So she wants to reset the record. So she's delivering goldfish because, that's not weird. And, and flavored drink. Oh my God, these people are crazy.
I'm wondering if it's just like a teenager. Like they're bored. They're quarantined. Their parents won't let them leave the house. Because this seems to me like the prank of like a 15-year-old boy. Like, oh yeah, and let's put a goldfish in there on a piece of toilet paper.
Yeah, or the flavored drink mix.
Yeah, they're gonna think this is drugs. Let's leave that in there.
It's inside of one of the little packets, no problem, safety. But if it's just,
Yeah.
I mean, not that it's unsafe, but if it's just poured out, that might, oh, and then what are they?
Anyway.
Or her? It might be a lady. Might be Florida.
It could be.
I wonder what they would charge her with.
Well, you can't mess with mailboxes.
Yeah.
Tampering with a mailbox is like a federal offense.
Oh, very true. Very true.
So, I mean, they could go as far as that, as tampering with mail. But people,
did it say
we've got to find better ways to fill our time.
Year after year, or is this the first year?
This is the first time it's happened, from what I understand.
Okay.
Anyway.
So we'll have to see how
they're calling it the dirty Easter bunny.
The dirty,
the filthy animal.
All right. Well, I've got a story.
What you got?
Oh gosh, this is in. Give me a minute. Dowagiac. Dowagiac, Michigan. This is in Michigan. Why? Why do you spell your town? Oh, anyway, so in Dowagiac, Michigan, Dan Stuglick. Jesus, this is a U.S. story. All right, Dan Stuglick, him and his wife are scheduled to get married, right? And the coronavirus kicks off, so everyone's quarantined, so people can't come.
Okay.
So what this guy does, and he still wants to give his wife a nice wedding. He doesn't want her to be brokenhearted at their wedding. So what he does is he orders some cardboard cutouts. See that?
No.
Yeah. And so a few people can come, obviously probably parents and siblings, but they planned on having 150 people in their wedding. But so a local packing company, a local cardboard manufacturing company, whatever, made these cardboard stencils, 7 or 8 different stencils, and they cut them out for him, and then they set them up in the pews at the wedding.
Okay, so because he can't give her her dream wedding, he's going to instead give her the creepiest wedding possible.
Well, it could have been creepier. He could have drawn like smiley faces on all of them. He's also a police officer, so after the wedding, some of them can be used as targets at the range. The little girl ones can be used for like nieces and nieces to do like dress up deals where they can color them. I mean, there's uses afterwards. I don't know. I kind of dig the story. He wanted his wife to be happy on her wedding day. You know?
Oh, seriously. The only thing that could have been worse is if they had sent the cardboard to like everybody and then you had to draw your own and cut it out and send it back.
That would have been
So
awesome.
so
been awesome.
oh,
I would,
Big Aunt Bertha would still take up as much in
what-
cardboard stature.
come out looking like the Ultimate Warrior, you know, flexing with the armband stuff dangling down, or an astronaut. Oh man, I would have went to town on this.
You could have taken all kinds of creative liberties in creating your cardboard cutout. Now that's something I could get behind, but these generic cardboard cutouts, that's terrifying. That's like mannequins.
There's got to be like 100 of them too.
Oh, forget it.
When you stack them, they'd be stacked like 15.
Oh. Well, my next story is just as creepy.
Oh, well,
It's
you had me put this on my computer, so now I'm on a watch list. Thank you for that.
okay. So I came across this story and I thought, okay, there's no way that this can be true. And so down the rabbit hole, and it is true. It's called Cannibal Club, and it's in Los Angeles. And
I'm going to share this now.
It's an actual club. Now I'm going to elaborate for you, because the first thing I thought was no way. So you open up their web page.
Can I just read this real quick?
Yeah.
Specializing in the preparation of human meat, Cannibal Club brings the cutting edge of experimental cuisine to the refined palate of LA's cultural elite. Our master chefs hail from around the world for the opportunity to practice their craft free of compromise and unbound by convention. Oh, you've got to be shitting me.
Now I want you to open up, just click on cuisine.
I'm going deeper?
Just click on cuisine and then read the lasagna on the cuisine menu.
It says they have filmmakers, intellectuals, and celebrities who have embraced the Enlightenment ideas of free expression and rationalism on event nights. Are they eating people?
Go to the cuisine page. They're definitely eating people.
Oh, okay.
Talk to us about the lasagna that's on that page, Jared. Just lay it out.
Meat pies, penne pasta with meat sauce, sirloin steak, liver and mushroom pierogi. I probably said that wrong. Pierogi? No, anyways. Okay. Skipped it for a reason.
So on the menu is placenta lasagna. It's an otherwise traditional lasagna with one layer of cheese substituted by minced placenta in an heirloom tomato sauce.
The heirloom tomato sauce is...
So if you go to the FAQs, the frequently asked questions, because then I go down the rabbit hole. Well, like, I don't want to know, like, the first question obviously is, what does human flesh taste like? I don't want to know. But the second one is, where do you get your specialty meat? And that was a question of mine. It says, our avenues of procurement vary. Most of the businesses and institutions who supply us prefer to keep those relationships discreet.
Really?
I can.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
And, okay, it gets worse. On the individual level, bodies are often bequeathed to us. For some, this is a way to supplement life insurance and offset funerary expenses. So I don't want to pay for a funeral. Let's just eat her.
All right. Let me tell you how I'm making
Listen, but wait.
To any celebrity that wants to just give me like $10 million, I will write down, you can eat me when I'm gone.
Now listen.
Of $10 million.
Listen, for others, such as Cannibal Club member Gwendolyn Fenwich, who was served to her friends and relatives at the club in January 2008. Oh, yeah, party people. This has been around for a long-ass time. She was prepared as a meal and thereby reborn into the bodies of the living.
Hey, I'll be celebrity poop gladly for the low price of $7 million. You can buy me. And then, I'll have it in writing. And when I die, give my family time to have a funeral, load me up on I don't care how you want to get me there, a freezer truck, ship me over, and you guys can enjoy. But
so now, cannibalism being wrong.
Yes, it's wrong. We talked about
they say
before.
They say
a little different.
That's
weird.
That they say that thought process is grounded in ignorance, cultural prejudice, and nonsensical spiritual beliefs.
That's where mad cow disease came from. They were feeding cows to cows, people.
And I was like, okay, so how do I make a reservation? And apparently, you cannot just show up.
No, really?
No.
Not even in my new suit I bought?
You need to introduce yourself through the contact page where you will be vetted to see if you are enlightened enough to become one of their members.
I don't want to go eat with them. I want to dine with them once after $7 and
So I was like, who eats here? Okay, Katy Perry went on record as saying the Cannibal Club was delicious.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So people are eating there. Some of the most elite people in Hollywood and LA and the financiers, they're eating there. They're eating placenta lasagna, which, by the way,
that's a sadistic story I've been kind of building.
Yeah. So this has been around for a really long time. And I remember hearing something about it and just taking it as like folklore. Oh, yeah, I'm sure there is. Ha, ha, ha. Like there's vampires. No, this is a legitimate restaurant in LA that you can bequeath your remains to, whereby now they say they don't serve brains because of the prions, and they don't want
but you
those
got a
diseases
system that runs through your whole body.
Yeah,
those prions are in the nervous system, right? Not just in the brain, but in the whole everywhere.
Correct.
So when we see Katy Perry start having a shiver,
I can't. So many celebrities claim to have been there.
This has to be like one of them speakeasy restaurants.
Oh, I can't handle the whole idea. Yay. So there you have it, people.
That is crazy.
It's happening. That is nuts. That's crazy to me.
So for those of you, dear audience, who walk on the wild side and people.
Oh, why is this legal? I don't understand that.
If they're vetting that hard, it's probably not.
Yeah, it's probably not. Yeah. I'm sure there's laws to protect.
Where the legislature gets together and they make a lot of laws that, I could go on forever. A lot of their laws are just kind of dumb. Like,
Right.
it never occurred to them. It never crossed their mind. It's so far out there that they're like, they're doing what?
Yeah. Why would we need a law against that? Nobody does that. Oh, wait. They are in LA. That's the problem. These legislators are eating there.
They're like, okay, hold on. These aren't like crazy wild men that are doing it. No, they're not. They live in mansions. Yeah.
I wonder what the placenta lasagna costs. Okay. Gonna just put it out there.
If they pay me to eat it.
I've seen placenta. Please stop. Stop. There is roadkill that is better looking than placenta.
Oh.
That maggot plumped up cow on the side of the road, when you puncture him, what comes out of him looks better than placenta. Don't mince it and put it in lasagna. I can't handle this.
Well, you know that they the really expensive cream cream.
Yeah, is made from circumcisions.
Yeah. So they make it from foreskins because,
That
who doesn't want to smudge a newborn baby on their face?
is not okay. That's not okay. I can't. The further we go down into the sickness, all right, fine. I'm starting to believe the revelation that this is the fourth horseman and they're coming to end us because we are sick. Humans, what is wrong with us?
I hope
baby foreskin skin creams and placenta lasagna.
Never rubbed baby foreskin on me, and I've never eaten people.
Oh my God. I can't believe it's even happening. Either one of those. And the adrenochrome. I mean, that's another show we've got to...
Adrenal. That's an upcoming show. There's a lot of...
That's freaking me out.
If it's real, it's insane.
Completely.
Half the crap's real. It's insane. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So on I'll just pull it up. So everyone heard about the train engineer who tried to crash his engine into the USNS Mercy. Now the USNS is it's a hospital ship. I think we have 3 of them, and they're giant ships that are hospital ships. They're, they park outside of war zones, take the injured and wounded on, exceptional medical care, humming, all that stuff. So in LA, a guy named Eduardo Moreno, he's 44. He feels that either the COVID-19 is a ploy so the government can take more control, or that they're using it to instill more control, which in a lot of ways I can't argue with him, because let's look at the control that a lot of state and county governments are portraying, where people are being arrested for being outside or things like that. But we've talked about that before, and that's neither here nor there. But this guy, he says he derailed his train, which a derailment means that he drove it in a manner that it would leave the tracks and continue in velocity in the direction it was going. And it seems like he tried to derail it into the ship, which it could have probably caused a lot of damage, but it didn't make it that far. It kind of crashed into a parking lot. It didn't lay on its side or anything. It just slid off on the parking lot. But the report says that it ended up spilling a lot of fuel out on the ground in this kind of gravelly parking lot. So he caused a little bit of an environmental issue. And then he told the police he was doing it just to draw the news's attention to the fact that there is a naval hospital ship in port treating non-COVID patients. So it sounds like what they're doing is they're taking people with emergencies that are not COVID related.
Right.
In order to keep them from catching COVID when they're already in a stress situation, they're taking them to this naval ship, which I applaud that. I think that's an outstanding idea. You know,
I think it's how it should be used.
We could figure out how to make some hospitals clean, some hospitals not. You know, have it one hospital that accepts no COVID patients, and then another hospital that's a gray area, and another. But I'm getting out of hand. That's in the bigger cities, and I'm hopefully smarter minds than mine are running this. But yeah, he just wanted the news to take a look at the ship in port. Now, up on the screen right now, I've got a picture of the.
But didn't the news already do a big thing about the ships here?
I don't know.
Look how beautiful that skyline is.
Yeah. I mean, there's still a little smog there in LA, but the mountains. I would like to go to LA once just to see the different canyons and mountains in that built-up desert. It seems pretty neat.
Yeah, LA's cool, but it is generally pretty smoggy. You don't get to see a lot.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people there.
Yeah,
a lot of people, and
congested. So what did they charge him with? Did he go to jail? I mean, I can imagine that he probably just had this lapse of judgment.
He's been arraigned. He's getting train wrecking charges, which are pretty hefty charges because the train is our train system sits in that kind of gray area where it's kind of private, kind of federal, kind of so.
Right.
The train wrecking charges, and depending on what comes out of it, he might incur different charges. But if you disable a train, you can go to jail. Not to give anyone bad ideas, but yeah, that's a major artery.
I wonder if he was like a conspiracy theorist and was like, what? And just lost it, like gunned it. Like, no! Came running off the tracks.
Sounds like he just got done listening to I don't know what would the left political party's conspiracy
I don't know.
maybe
like he thinks that the Navy ship is a bad thing. No.
You hear those stories, and I mean, there's a lot of I have a lot of heartburn right now about our government, the steps they've taken and steps that are proposed, but nothing on that level. And I don't think our government's being nefarious. I think it's just an organization that does what it does.
I think that what needs to come of this is a stepping in of our local governments. The ones that were elected officials locally need to step in and make decisions for their states. And if that means opening up the economy again, I think that needs to be done at a state level, personally.
I think county level would be ideal too,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
in our county we have 27 people.
Yeah.
But the last time I looked, it was like in the 20s or maybe 40s,
No, we're still in the 20s in Tooele County. And we're the largest county in Utah. We're pretty widespread, but we're the largest county.
We are the largest county, but we're not very populated.
We're one of the least populated, but
Lake County needs to have different actions. So I think the county sheriffs and county mayors and county commissioners and those people should be given more leeway, which I think they mostly are. some areas like New Jersey, I think the governor is getting kind of crazy, but
Yeah, you never know how people are going to respond in times like these. And I mean, we saw Cuomo, governor of New York. He kind of lost his shit there for a minute, and then he regained his composure. Maybe he had a couple of drinks and relaxed a little bit. But right in the beginning, I think he kind of panicked too, and I think that's a normal
oh yeah,
human reaction to this.
I wouldn't want to be any one of them. I wouldn't want
Hell no, 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 no. And
to be in-
that's why I try not to really come down on them for making the decisions they do, because God, I wouldn't want to be in that position, make that decision.
I think being an official in like north central Nevada wouldn't be too bad.
Population 12.
And 4 other people there, and y'all house, and you can say, all right, you get this side of the house, you get the other, and me over here, you know.
What's really sad that I've been watching as it's developing is in Alaska. They were pretty insulated, but they have a very different setup in their way of life, and we stand to lose an entire culture of people. They've got a couple of villages up there that now have the coronavirus, and the issue with that is you can't get to a hospital unless you charter a plane, and then you have to wait. And
Population, is that what you're talking about?
the what?
Inuit population?
Yeah, there's a couple of tribes up there that are really suffering, really suffering.
And they're probably still snowed in.
Yeah, and so you run into a lot of interesting. One, is it getting there by way of packages, or just people traveling, to the mainland and back out to these little villages, for work or medical? It's hard to say, because, Anchorage has its fair share, but these little tribes they're without any resources. So it'll be sad to see how that plays out. I hope that they're getting.
How did the virus get to them?
Yeah, that's the question. Is it because everything's flown in? They're so insulated that all of their supplies are flown in. So did it come in with the pilot? Did it come in with the supplies? Was it, contaminated on a box or something? The problem is these villages live very much like communities. They eat together, they house together, they hunt together. So for them to be isolated would be very difficult. Very, very difficult.
Do they have communication ability?
Very little, very, very limited. It's generally by radio.
That's something we could reinforce. We could reinforce their communication ability, even if it's just,
right. Or drop in one medic in
and that's
a little.
You reinforce their communication ability, and then you get a handful of medics that are bold enough to embark on. Maybe they make routes, maybe they spend make routes where they go to these different spots on a cycle over the next month.
Yeah, I hope they're doing those things.
How much would a medic help? That's the question.
It's hard to say, because with this, with this coronavirus, it's feast or famine. Most people are totally fine, but if you're in trouble, you're in big trouble.
I heard about a report out of Ireland where they tested so many people, and of the numbers that tested positive, so they tested a group. I'm making up numbers because I don't remember, but let's say they tested 800, 400 had it, but only 200 were symptomatic. So 200 out of this 800 that are carriers, that are handing it, that don't show any signs at all. No fever, no cough, no cold,
right?
No shivers, no any of that. Like the virus got in there, but didn't get them in the same manner that it would someone who would show symptoms.
Yeah, they still don't understand how that's working, why it's doing that. But there's there's a mechanism somewhere between contracting it and the way that it's settling into their lungs. Somewhere between there, I mean, most people, even those who do show symptoms, most of them are going to be just fine. It sucks. They'll tell you. The ones who have recovered at home and never got any hospitalization will say, listen, I really thought this is how it was going to go. But with this virus, unlike other viruses, when you're in a bad way, you're in a really bad way. I mean, the gentleman from Grantsville, where I live, he's been intubated for 14 days now.
And
he's my age.
That's really scary. Being in
Yeah.
At all is scary, but for 14.
Well, and what his wife has said, what they've had to do with him is just everything. They've tried everything. They've tried the hydroxychloroquine. They've tried everything. But when you get to a point where you're in this, they call it the cytokine storm, and that's where just inflammation is building and building and building without a release. Your cells are holding all the inflammation. There's just not much they can do. I mean, that's the tipping point. Once you get into that cytokine storm, it's they're just rearranging chairs on a ship that's going down. There's not much they can do for you. And some still pull through. China, I read a thing today, is doing some lung transplants on bad COVID patients to try and get them to, a quality of life.
What do you think about those conspiracy theories you hear out of China, the Uyghurs being killed for, not just Uyghurs, there's another tribe there, but being killed for their body parts?
Oh.
Have you heard those yet?
I've heard some of those, yes, but God, I hope that's not happening.
Yeah.
That's one of those things,
China's embarking on a brand new world. I mean, it is it's a scary world to think about, and let's face it, I will be shocked if in 100 years China isn't the dominant economy on the world, such as the United States has been for the last 100 years. I'll be shocked.
Oh yeah, I would too, because they've been positioning themselves
and
to do that for sure.
And other nations and other things have allowed that and bolstered that. But I hope that if that comes to pass, and when it comes to pass, they become more gentle.
Please. Oh, yeah, we won't be around for that, unless you donate your body to the Cannibal Club and then you're reborn and living inside, Gwyneth Paltrow's great grandson or something, then you may be around for it.
Like on the menu pages of Goop. We could,
yeah.
Jared Pie.
Oh, I'm telling you, this world is too weird. That's why today's show is plausible.
This thing has freaked me out for a long time. And if you haven't heard this from anywhere else, you need to just venture out. Just look it up. It is craziness. Now, Betsy's bringing the story, and I'm afraid I'm going to have to jump in often because being the connoisseur of conspiracy that I am, I've listened to a lot of good stuff about this.
Okay, so today we're going to cover the Denver airport.
And the Illuminati headquarters and secret bunker, right?
Yes. Yeah. And Denver is now embracing that. For the longest time they weren't. And we'll talk about what they did last year that was pretty funny. I didn't get to see it because I haven't traveled in a couple of years. But I used to travel often. And Denver, I was in Denver, I don't know, once a month, probably. So I flew into Denver airport all the time. First, let me say, it is not an easy airport to get into. It is choppy as shit. You come up over those Rockies and then you just plummet basically into Denver Airport, just, free fall. And it's also it's not very user friendly. For being this project that it had become, I mean, it's got very few runways, so it's difficult.
I think it was 10 years over time, and it's billion.
2 billion over budget, with a B.
So it was supposed to be completed it was somewhere in like the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Not completed yet.
They're still under construction, and so when you arrive,
maybe the Illuminati is growing, so the bunker needs to get bigger and bigger as like Katy Perry wasn't in the Illuminati in the 90s. She just got in the Illuminati in the 2010s or teens.
Yeah.
Had to build her suite. And there's other movie stars. Now, maybe Britney Spears has been kicked off the registry. But, I don't know. Name another movie star's taking her place.
So I'm going to pretend, I'm going to walk you through the weirdness that is this airport.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pretend I'm in Denver and I'm going to the airport. So just outside of the airport property, you come to this blue statue. Now it's a bluish green statue.
Right now.
Its official name is Blue Mustang. If you come at night, you'll notice in the picture that you're showing, it actually has LED lights that its eyes glow bright red.
Yep.
And then it's got big halogen lights that point up towards it so you can see it quite clearly at night. And as you get closer, you start to see the horse is anatomically correct. It's a bit jarring when you first notice that, but as you get even closer to the horse, it is 100% the scariest statue you'll ever see. It's this big blue chiseled horse. I mean, you can see his rib cage. He's got big bright red veins running along the side of his muzzle and all the way down his front and rear legs, and then all over his rib cage are these really bright red veins. It's very demonic looking.
They call him Lucifer.
So its official name is Blue Mustang, but Denver, like this, the whole city has risen up and begged the airport to please change out the horse because it's demonic. And so they've nicknamed him Lucifer. Now, to give you a little history on him, he was commissioned for the Denver airport in 1993. Now, the creator of the airport, his name is Jimenez.
He looks like a dead horse anyway. Look at the face on that thing.
Yeah, it's a terrifying statue, and it's 32 feet high. So this is a menacing. It's not just a small statue. You can see it from miles and miles away. Its hair looks like bone fragments. It doesn't look like hair, the way that this artist put it together. And when it was erected, Luis Jimenez, the artist, was on site and putting it together, and during its completion, the head fell off and landed on him and actually killed him.
So Lucifer's a killer.
Lucifer is a killer, and he's been vandalized. And the airport, they literally nothing. They take the commissioners of the airport, or whoever's in charge of making the decisions about the airport. They take nothing into consideration that is said by the public. Absolutely nothing.
No, the Illuminati doesn't want to hear what we have to say.
No. So beyond Lucifer, you enter.
Cannibal Cuisine has a franchise restaurant under the airport.
Yeah. Yeah. So beyond Lucifer, you get to the actual airport grounds. So what you'll notice about the airport grounds is the prison-style wire that points in. So it's not meant to keep people out. It's meant to keep people in. And it's very, very prominent. I think it was about my third trip there that I was like, oh, that's not face the right direction. You know, it should be the other way so that people can't climb in, but it's this way so you can't climb out. Again, no explanation for that, but it is what it is. So
And
when
it is a very, of all the airports I've been to, it is the one that just going through it and going through security is not the friendliest.
Right. Now they are trying to change that, but it's well known for just being a pain in the ass airport.
Yeah.
So when Denver Airport was being built, there was already an airport there. It's called Stapleton. It was named after, I think it was the mayor at the time. They named the airport after him.
He sings songs.
And this airport, for a lot of the locals, just seemed unnecessary because we're talking. It ended up, like you mentioned, taking way longer than expected, going $2 billion over budget, and it takes up 35,000 acres of land.
Mm-hmm. And this is farmland. It's east of Denver.
Right.
It's out in the,
so
really not even in Denver. It's past Aurora, past all that.
So it's the third largest airport in the world as far as size, but it has the least amount of runways out of any airport that's considered a national hub or an international hub. So it takes up the most space, but has the least amount of air traffic availability. Another thing is, just keep this in the back of your mind, the Queen
Yeah.
of England,
The lizard, I'm sorry, the Queen
has started buying up all of the property surrounding the airport.
Royal Scaleness is buying up brooding.
So that's a strange place for her to be looking for property. It's not, okay, fine, it's got a beautiful backdrop, but it's not, fantastic property.
Well,
it's flat.
If you want to farm, it's excellent property. And
yeah, perhaps.
And it's really close. It's closer to her than going to LA for her fine dining.
There you go. Gross. So once you get into the airport, the first thing that you'll notice is you kind of have to shuffle past baggage claim. Well, there's a couple of baggage claims because for the enormous size that this airport takes up, like I said, it has very limited air travel capabilities. It has less runways than the Stapleton one had that it replaced. But the first thing you'll notice is the gargoyles. So there are literal gargoyles inside. They're like popping out of suitcases. They're statues, and they're in the baggage claim area. If you're in a hurry and you're just shuffling through, you wouldn't notice them. I've spent a lot of time there. They're creepy as shit. Thankfully, they don't have red eyes or anything, but it makes you wonder, why would you want those in an airport? Yeah, they're like climbing out of suitcases. They're these demonic gargoyles. So you get past the gargoyles and you're milling about, and next to, I don't know, Annie's Pretzels, you come across these I mean, they're gigantic murals. They've got to be 14 foot high, 30 feet long.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll show one that can show some scale right now.
They're these really big murals, and if you're not paying attention, I think that you could possibly walk by and just be like, oh, look, it's a painting. But having sat down and, having to wait for flights in the airport, these are terrifying murals. Most of them depict dead or dying children. Most of them depict Nazi soldiers.
Nazi.
This particular one has a rainbow kind of at the top, and then it's got a gas mask wearing, looks like a Nazi soldier, carrying probably an AK-47. It's got a bayonet on the end, and he's killing a dove. There's women, off to the side, and they're mourning their dead children. They're holding their dead children, and then there are
trail of people being marched off.
Yeah, so they're being marched off with their dead children. It's like a burnt city kind of in the foreground. This is not a welcoming, by any stretch of the imagination, this is not a welcoming mural to an airport. And they get worse. There is one where they've got all of these animals trapped, and at the bottom they've got a letter from an actual Holocaust, a kid that was killed in the Holocaust. And if you look up him, the artist included his name. I think it's Henry, I can't remember what it is. Hutchner. He was killed in the Holocaust in Auschwitz, December 18th, 1943. So the artist included that little piece of paper. Well, if you look at this kid that was killed, he is well known for writing a poem while he was in Auschwitz that says it's called "Get to Know the Monster." And I don't know why the artist would choose him versus there's a million things that as an artist you can depict. And this artist, first of all, was chosen, and there's a commission. Anytime you're commissioned to do a large mural like this, especially one that's for public viewing, you have to give them an idea of what you're doing. You have to give them prints. You have to give them scale and size and things. So they approved of this. They approved of all of these. Most of the murals have dead children or mothers holding dead children. They talk about Nazi Germany. They have the German soldiers that are either alive killing doves or, laying down in the background with the children around them. It's macabre. The murals in there are macabre, to say the least.
It's creepy.
So if you can get past those, what you'll get to next is there's a stone, you would say, and beneath it holds a time capsule, or at least that's what it says. Now this stone, it's a capstone. It's carved. I've actually, stood by it and took pictures of it and stuff, but there is a Freemason's symbol on the front of the stone. And the airport commission has always said, sure. Yeah, the Freemasons, contributed to this.
In the corners of the airport. So
What's that?
There's Masonic symbols in the corner of the airport.
All over.
Yeah.
All over. On the floors, on the walls. They're everywhere. And they said, oh yeah, that's because we have a big Freemasons lodge here in Denver and they contributed to this. Okay, well, then you look at the date, March 19th, 1994. Well, that day is significant because those numbers add up to 33. And The 33 degrees of the Scottish Rite is the highest order in Freemasonry.
Yep.
Now, this capstone was not placed when it was finished. This date was chosen almost 2 years after they opened the airport. So they specifically chose this day, insisted this is the day, this is when it will be set.
And it,
now
beneath it, the
Yeah.
New World Airport Commission.
Now, that's another strange thing. If you look it up, there's no such thing. There never has been. There's never been a New World Airport Commission. And the official story is, oh, we just decided that day that that's what we were going to put on it.
I see coming into view a new world order. Yep. Mhm.
So the capstone apparently has a time capsule underneath it to be opened in 2094. Now, many of the airport staff members or the personnel that, work in the airport have reported strange things over the years since the airport's construction. Now, no one went on record, but there were some construction guys who said, well, this is taking so long because we're putting several story high buildings underneath this airport. Like, that takes time.
Do you think
So?
their lesson? Because the pharaohs learned their lessons when they would have guys build the pyramids. Well, this is all hearsay. Not even hearsay. This is all make believe that I know of. But they would kill them afterwards
To keep the secrets.
keep the secrets.
Well, I don't know, but people to this day say that that there's a morgue in the airport,
Oh.
and that there are these big doors and these sliding people-size trays in the airport. Now, underneath Denver, 100% there are tunnels. There are tunnels under every airport. And
Well,
that's to get the baggage around. That's just
not just that, but when you ride from I think there's A, B, C, and D.
in Salt Lake, yeah.
No, in Denver. There's A, B, C, and D, and you ride a underground tram to get between them.
So besides the underground tram, now I watched a documentary where they said, oh, yeah, we'll take you down. So they get in this elevator and it goes level 1, level 2, level 3, and then stops. And he said, well, what's on level 1 and level 2? And she says, oh, there is no level 1 and level 2.
Ah.
And she just walks him through level 3, which is, like she said, we just move baggage around throughout here.
Yeah.
So the morgue makes no sense to have there. And a lot of people, so there's a couple different camps. Some people believe that beneath the airport is a bunker for the world's elite, however you define that. I would think anybody besides me is probably elite.
Well, remember, I'm a beside you is also, and
So besides us,
I'm less on the scale of elite than you are.
and then other people believe that there is a FEMA camp or something similar to that, where they will house people if necessary below the airport, just taking advantage of the fact that they're already out there constructing, and they can easily fly people in and make them
And you're
disappear from public view.
the way the fencing is.
You're trapped inside the way the fencing is. So, and then other people believe that they're hiding aliens, and that's why the Queen of England, the reptilian queen, is buying up all the property.
Oh, it's her brood. Well,
One thing
if it's lizard aliens, yes. But if it's like not lizard aliens,
yeah.
then that's not okay.
Another thing that doesn't make any sense, and I remember hearing about this and thinking, well, that's weird. but there's a lot of bizarre things that happen at that airport. And one of them is February 2007. There were 14 planes parked on the tarmac, either waiting, taxiing, or whatever they were doing. And all of their windows became shattered within like a 20-minute to 40-minute time frame. And not just a crack, but completely shattered, while not in flight.
Like webbed up
And
sitting there on the ground.
while they were sitting there on the ground. So some people believe that there's something below there, perhaps magnetic or electronic or something, and it was being tested and whatever. So maybe that's what the bunker is for.
Yeah, the Bob Lazar gravity machine from the alien ships.
Yeah, 14. So every plane that was on the ground, not in operation, needed new glass. So then as you walk through, you'll notice these strange gold and silver symbols, not the Masonic ones, because those are everywhere, but there's these strange gold and silver symbols all over the floors. And they look like maybe mining carts. And I think that's what I thought at first, was like, these are mining carts, and, they're paying homage to, Denver's, history of mining. But the letters on them are AUAG, which is actually, it's the Australia antigen. So it's an actual biological warfare. So, I mean, perhaps they just didn't do the research and was like, okay, well, let's pick some metals off of the chart and put them on these. Or perhaps it's, written in plain sight. Because that's a known antigen. Now we do have a vaccine for it. So, given that these were put in years and years ago, those are no longer a threat. If that's a threat, it's not a threat anymore.
They're just teasing us. What they're doing is they're making cannon fodder.
Yes. So the other tiles at the airport, it's strange because there's no rhyme or reason, and there's actually one tile that just says Mount Blanca. Now, Mount Blanca it's clearly in the Knights Templars writings, and it's the mentioned place where they'd gather to form the New World Order. Okay, maybe they didn't know that. Maybe you could just say they like the word Blanca, they're talking about white cheese. I don't know, but one of the tiles says Mount Blanca. So, the bunkers beneath, there are city blueprints that you can still access that show 5 buildings in the initial construction site. And what they claimed, the officials say that they were incorrectly placed, and instead of being demolished, they were just buried. That's the official reason why there's buildings underneath there, is because they built them in the wrong spot, and it just didn't make sense to demolish them, take more time, so they buried them.
Completely legit.
Yes, totally legit. Now, there was an anonymous whistleblower that brought a copy of the prints. We're guessing that he was one of the engineers or structural engineers, and he brought the prints forward because he wanted to show them what was even more strange to him was the underground luggage system, which, by the way, they've never used. So they built it, craziest thing. It was supposed to be this state-of-the-art luggage system, and what it did was it would zoom your luggage around without manpower, and then it would lob it into the cargo hold of the plane. So when they did try to run it, it was like overshooting the plane. It was lobbing these. They apparently spent $1 billion on it, and it was lobbing these big pieces of luggage everywhere. Well, the engineer came forward and he said, I can't believe you all bought that show. This really technologically advanced system of moving things around has nothing to do with luggage. And they've never used it. They put in the standard luggage one after they got the city and the state to pay for this, really unique one. So, the theories are that, it could be used as a bunker. It could be used as, to keep chemical warfare. It could be just a straight up FEMA camp where they bring you in and they lock you in and that's it, that's all. Now, some people make a big deal about the shape of the runways. It's clearly a swastika. That alone doesn't bother me, minus the fact that there are Nazi soldiers on these giant painted murals inside. It kind of connect the dots,
It's kind of shocking,
But it's clearly, and if people say, oh no, that's a normal shape. Look at any airport, anywhere. They're not shaped in swastikas. It is not a good shape.
It'd be hard for coordinating landings.
Yes. Air traffic control doesn't want you taking off in all four directions.
Or landing.
They have, right, or landing in all four directions. It would be impossible to manage, and which is likely why the airport doesn't get as much air travel. It's clearly in a swastika shape. Take that and add that to everything else that's in there, and maybe draw your own conclusions.
Swastikas, the happy one.
Now, in 2011, do you remember the big comet Elenin? Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was plummeting towards Earth. It was going to be the big one. Everyone was preparing. Barack Obama flew into Denver.
Oh.
And he stayed there until the all clear. So some people say, why Denver? I mean,
because it's got those buildings underground.
Right. Other than there's a place for you to hide out. Mm-hmm. Because the city of Denver, I think, would have been in as much danger as any other major city from a plummeting comet.
You've got NORAD at Denver. You've got a huge hub. Well, not at Denver. That's at Colorado Springs or just west on the mountain. I've actually seen the gates of NORAD. They're pretty, just like in the movies, big, tall, heavy gates. Uh-oh. I didn't lose you.
So, no, I'm here.
Okay.
So, there's another piece of artwork in the Denver airport that I just never really paid attention to because it just seemed like a picture. There's this lady standing next to this sign, and it talks about a meteorite found near Canyon Diablo. But her face is missing, and it appears like the lights are shining on her face, but any way you position yourself, you cannot see this woman's face. So it's kind of a little creepy. That's another one. That's not a mural. That's just another piece of art there. If you put everything together, I think it's too much to be coincidental, but not enough to be a smoking gun.
Well, there's not. Okay. It's like they started out with a little bit of creepy, maybe got one mural painted, and people, or whatever, the gargoyles went up first, and people freaked out, and they leaned into it.
It's like they just don't pay attention. So there's been a couple of Facebook groups trying to get rid of Blucifer, and the airport commission never responds, doesn't show up to meetings. It's private property. You know, there was an airline deregulation that took place back in the late 70s, and prior to that, from what I understand, airlines were considered public transport, and you couldn't really be competitive in the pricing. And so it was deregulated in the late 70s, and the property is privately owned by a group that chooses to be anonymous, which again is strange to me. Why wouldn't it be owned by the city or the state, or at any rate? So it's an interesting airport, because I've been to lots of airports, and most airports are welcoming, and they have peaceful paintings. I've never, I mean, I'm sure even in Germany they don't have paintings that depict dead babies.
I've only seen like local artwork displayed on the walls at airports.
Right. And this guy he's a local artist.
But this guy needs to
he's got some problems.
All the shrinks.
And then the Blucifer and the way that it looks is demonic. It doesn't pay homage to the Broncos at all, because it is like a demon horse. But the airport for many years ignored everything until 2019. I wish I had been there to see this. In 2019, they installed a talking gargoyle. It's an animatronic gargoyle.
Uh-huh.
And the very first thing he says to you when you walk in is, "Welcome to the home of the Illuminati." It's like,
I'm telling you, they're leaning into this.
Yeah, it's like they're like, hey, hidden in plain sight's the best place to be. And all over the airport, they've now got these what look like joking signs, like, "Don't forget to look for the stairs down to the FEMA camp below. Don't forget to look for the hidden bunker," or step. It's crazy. It's crazy. And just last year, it's like they were like, oh, okay, fine. Everybody knows. Let's just, hidden in plain sight. So this gargoyle interacts with you.
If it is a Illuminati conspiracy, they're just
Best one yet.
Well, they're blowing the doors off it, because I think, get it out in the open and people can't really say much about it. Everything.
I mean, right at this point, they'll say, "Listen, the gargoyle told you when you walked in that you were at the Illuminati headquarters."
And then they can laugh about it. Yeah, see, we pulled a prank on you.
It's crazy.
If it's not the totally innocent people who are planning and running and building this, are just
Twisted.
We got some extra money. What's all the budget mean?
It's twisted because they know what these murals depict. They know that the imagery and the symbolism is everywhere.
Those murals are heinous.
Yes. And they do nothing about it. And now the gargoyle shows up, and it's a cool animatronic. I watched a video of it. I sent it to you. Did you watch that?
Yes.
Where he jokes with you and responds to what you're saying. I don't know if it's manned or unmanned.
Scripted, but it's scripted. He's got a plethora of dictionary to pull from.
It's crazy. So,
Yeah.
Denver Airport. The jury's still out for me. I don't know why they would put 5 building. I've never seen a building site, specifically an airport, where it's going to be taking a lot of foot traffic and such. I don't imagine them building 5 buildings and then going, those are in the wrong spot, bury them. That doesn't make sense to me.
5 does not make a swastika.
I don't understand the layout of the runways, and that's because I have flown a lot, and I have had the opportunity to read the little back, the little pamphlet that's in the seat back, and look at different runways. It's the only one that's a swastika. I don't understand the murals. I don't understand the gargoyles that are in the suitcases. I don't understand why the Queen's buying all of the land up around it. I don't understand the fencing.
Well, the
Lucifer.
body has to be close.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is. They're leaning way into it if it's not real. And if it is real, they're flaunting it.
And not that I'm against having bunkers, because, whatever.
Especially if private people have their own little whatever.
Right. Lots of people build bunkers. I mean, probably people in my neighborhood have bunkers in their backyard. I don't know. I'm not against building bunkers, and I'm not against the Illuminati. I mean, it is what it is. But the airport is freaky. If you have an opportunity to go,
yes,
get a little longer layover in Denver and take your camera, because I'm here to tell you.
And spend some time there. Spend some time wandering the airport.
Now, it's private property. You can't walk up to the horse.
Outside of the... But
right.
Walking through the airport is enough to...
It's creepy as shit.
Yes.
It doesn't feel welcoming, and that's generally not the feeling you go for when you build an airport.
Yeah, the people that work there, I'm not just talking about the TSA as they go to try to fondle your bits and pieces. I'm talking about the whole staff, I think, is... I mean, could you imagine working there, working for the Illuminati and
that airport? It's got all of these fiberglass, like they look like mountain peak sails. I personally have been there twice when one's been ripped through and it's snowing inside the airport. It is not a good design.
I know they said they tried formulating it after Apache teepees, but yeah, it's not pleasant.
No, it's Denver.
Yeah.
Denver International. Check it out.
Illuminati. Now, I want to close out. I put that thing on whatever. I had a wild dream. I don't dream often. Betsy, okay, you never dream. So I need you to tell me the whole dream, because I'm going to interpret it for you. Kind of like interpretive dance. Oh, I fell asleep listening to Joe Rogan. It was just YouTube was on autoplay. I was listening to something, and then it just kept playing through the night. And Joe Rogan came on talking about something. So in the dream, hanging out, I lived in a kind of like a loft wood apartment deal. It was kind of like a cabin, but it was kind of on stilts, kind of like my Tybee Island dream. That's a waking dream. Anyways, some people come up, and it's Joe Rogan, and he wants to do a podcast there at there for whatever. And we're not a part of it or any of that, but that's on my mind, obviously, because that's something that I do here. But apparently in the house was buried some secret crystal. So long story short, it commences, bam, bam. And then it like phases to another place. And then Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson must have come on. And so we're riding in a submarine around an underwater Egyptian city that somehow is in the Nile now or in the Mediterranean or whatever. And we're in this submarine and I'm taking pictures in the window, and look, it was the best dream ever. It was just a fun.
Was there colors or no colors?
There was colors. What does that mean? What's the difference on colors or no colors?
They say if you dream in color, you're psycho. I don't remember if I ever dream in color. I barely remember the dreams. I dream all the time.
Seeing how I dream so rarely, when I have one, it sticks with me. And this one, I mean, there was a gunfight in it. There wasn't any deaths, so that's a good thing. But there was a gunfight, and then there was and then the submarine ride, and so I wake up from the dream right as they're finishing up the conversation with Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson. And we've talked about Graham Hancock on this show before.
Mm-hmm. We dig him.
If you haven't listened to his shows on Joe Rogan, you're missing out. Really interesting guy. And Randall Carlson is very interesting and entertaining to listen to. He reminds me of the old man, kind of.
Oh yeah.
The way stories are told and information falls out. But yeah, that was a really interesting dream.
Okay, so let's break this down.
All right.
You start out in a cabin on a beach.
Well, it wasn't on a beach though. It was
okay. So it was on stilts though.
It was on stilts.
So cabins generally they're like more fortified, more secluded. So you want to be secluded, but the podcast, see, that's where Joe Rogan comes in. The podcast keeps pulling you back out. And then the podcast takes you deeper, like down in the water, into strange subject matter. And that takes you away from your dream of being a hermit. And then there's a gunfight.
No, the gunfight was before the underwater.
What a strange dream. Yeah. I have had some really, really
in my dream,
interesting dreams.
I'm in a shootout. Me and Joe Rogan weren't on the same side in this shootout.
You're like, dang, I like Joe Rogan.
Yeah, and it's weird. It's like it was like a movie where there was something in the house they wanted, but they infiltrate it. And then I can't remember how I found out, but I found out, and next thing you know, we're like ducking behind doorways, shooting at each other.
Yeah.
And then we make up.
Makes perfect sense.
It was a weird dream, but I know I had that dream
because of what you were listening to.
Because
it was you were being prompted by whatever they were talking about.
And he might have been talking to that Navy SEAL guy, or any number of combat vets, which took me into that. And but yeah, it was an interesting dream. But the underwater part was really cool, and that I think would have been in more black and white or smudgy, like you're underwater.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really clear. I don't know. And Graham Hancock was the pilot of the ship, and he was talking the whole time in his British accent. That was an interesting dream. That's
awesome.
I enjoyed it.
Maybe you should listen to strange things more often.
Yeah.
As you're sleeping. It's subliminal messaging is what's happening. I
could start digging into stuff that I want to dream about,
Yeah.
If you come in and, like ESPN swimsuit issues on,
just turn around. Don't wake him.
Close the door quietly, please. Yeah.
All right.
There it is.
Good show.
Joining us. Yeah, that is very interesting. If you guys have thoughts about the Illuminati, reach out. Like, share,
yes.
Review.
And if I forgot to mention something about the Denver airport, there's so many different details that if you look in these forums, people are like, yeah, but did you see this, or did you see that, or did you? And if we forgot something, let us know.
We'll do another show. And for you local Twillaites, I've got a sister podcast, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
Happy Hour. That's local news, events, and politics. But jump on there, give it a listen. Also, if you want to call out someone that's doing good deeds, we had a guy go on Facebook, check out J Bread. It's a guy that's baking bread in his home and handing it out to people who need sustenance. So
And right now, it's huge. There are a lot of us that this is not affecting in a big way right now, but there are a lot of people that this has turned their entire life upside down. So to give back in little ways, we want to recognize you, or if you know somebody who's doing it.
Yeah, help him out, help out your neighbors. And but go to his Facebook page, give the show a listen, that helps me out. But go to his Facebook page, and if you know anyone who needs some help with maybe a loaf of bread, let him know. And he's trying out some new flavors.
If you want to donate,
yep.
I mean, I'm sure he always needs, raw ingredients and stuff. So
yes, and he's a neat guy, him and his wife. But
good things.
Yes, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again in a week.
Have a great week.